Hey everybody, it's Carl's from Immortals Inc. Podcast. Hope you like and subscribe to everything we do here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about cults across America. Oh, I forgot I don't have a middle camera. Cults across America. I got John Dunn as always with me. Not as always. Sorry, I got John Dunn here today.
Not as always, really.
I got Mike as always with me. Mikey.
This is the crossover we never knew we needed. And
hey, folks.
We tried this. Tried this again.
I know. This is the third time.
This must be cursed.
It is.
I mean, the cults got involved, so it seems likely.
They don't want you to know how to stop them. Yeah, we've tried to do this 3 times now, right?
I think so.
Oh, my God. First,
we're here.
Cheap SD cards. I don't know who bought those.
I don't know either.
Can't imagine.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to talk about Cults Across America. This board game is made in, when was this made, John?
Probably the early 90s. I'd say 91, 92, but I wouldn't swear to it.
It's classic.
It's been around for a while. Yeah.
And this has not changed. I just bought these to restock
it's
the store.
amazing. Not only hasn't it changed, the price hasn't changed. So I remember when this game came out, it was $50. And I thought, wow, that is an expensive game. And now I look at it and it's $50. And I go, wow, that's a bargain.
I know.
What 30 years does.
Yeah, it has not changed. The contents haven't changed. It's a chit game.
Yeah, it is.
Basically what it is
That's
is...
chit, C-H-I-T.
Cheat.
Don't ban us or don't censor us.
Cheat. It is a chit game, and it's kind of like, what would you say, Risk?
I mean, there are Risk-like elements of it. I think it's more like a train game, though.
How would you explain it to a 10-year-old what this game is?
It's a bunch of bad people.
On the spot.
It's a bunch of horrible people doing horrible things to as many people as possible, including each other.
Okay.
You know, life.
Yeah, pretty much.
14-year-olds,
so,
go. No.
I mean, when you're talking about Risk, right, you're fighting each other. So you've got those elements. But I like the fact that it's kind of got that element where you're trying to build this chain all the way across the country. And that's...
I don't want to talk about that. So basically, it's you control a cult, and it's based on Cthulhu, of course, which is why we're all here. Except,
well, every player controls a cult.
Yes.
And they're not all following Cthulhu, right? No. Some of them could be following other elder gods, and that might be why they're in competition.
Oh, yeah, I guess elder gods would have been a better. Yeah. So basically, you are a cult leader, and you're in charge of all these your little cult members, and what you're trying to do is control America, basically. And there's several victory conditions for various game modes of this, if I remember right.
Yeah.
There's just annihilation where you just wipe everybody out.
Which is the least fun.
Yeah, there's cults across America, which is you have to have a string from all the cities of all your cults.
Right, which is, getting back to the 80s where you had that chain going all the way across, Hands Across America fundraising. Yeah, that was where they came up with the idea for the name, clearly.
And then, this is very dated, by the way, some of the stuff in here, but it's still funny. But and then there's also like a victory point one where it's like more of a tactical and
absolutely. And that's certainly the most complicated option.
Yeah, but it is just tongue-in-cheek, beer and pretzel kind of
and it's not like a 10-minute game. It's a few hours, but it's not like Diplomacy where you need to pack a sleeping bag and food supplies for a month.
It's good for an evening. I just played it a couple times with a friend of mine. Lost both times, by the way, just so you know.
I would expect no less.
I know. I tried the Hands Across America, and then anyway, well, the mechanics of the game. Basically, and then what happens is you just go to different cities and you fight each other, and then you can gain control of like the president of the United States, and then you get like
the head of the CDC, the Pope, who starts in Colorado. Again, it's dated because the Pope visited Denver.
For some weird reason.
Yeah.
And then
what?
There's also the assassin from Uruguay, or the ambassador
from Uruguay, who's really an assassin.
Yeah, which there has to be something behind it.
Again, it gets back into some political shenanigans.
Yeah, back in the time.
And the Miskatonic U Marching Band.
Yes.
Which was just fantastic.
I know it started on one end though, but it had to go. But basically what you're doing is it's like a Risk-like or combat kind of game where you like pile up your little cultists, and then you try to take over other cities or vie for
moving, and the pace you move across the board depends on what equipment you can have. So you can just move on foot, or you can get a satanic push cart, or you can get a tank,
the big honking truck,
right?
Where you just run people over. And then there's also cards. Like that's where I get the Risk ideas. Like 'cause you can get cards with little cultist profiles on them, and you can turn them in for get more cultists, or the cards do special abilities. Like I was talking about when I was trying to I almost got all the cults across America, but then the guy I was playing against, he threw down like 3 cards that like a turncoat card.
Sure.
So half of my cultists switched sides and went with him. So
beautiful.
I'm done at that point.
Let me tell you though, it sounds like you were just playing a 2-player version.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun the more players you have.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can get 3 or 5 at the table. There's a lot more opportunity for backstabbing.
You need friends, basically.
Well, yes, of course.
It's just easy. Like, say if we 3 were playing and we didn't like you for 5 minutes, we could team up and say, okay, just don't attack
just
me.
Be toxic,
this guy.
super toxic.
Yeah.
And then, of course, afterwards, I can say, okay, let's get him now. You know?
Generally speaking,
Yeah,
that's pretty much the way the game works best.
How do you know when you're done? Like when you've won, the game's concluded.
Yeah, when somebody's achieved the victory condition.
Which is the cities are all marked. Like the map is very basic map of America, the basic North America. And then the cities are all like marked at various locations.
It's, major cities. If they have a professional sports team, there's a decent chance they're on the map.
Yeah, and then you just like if you can get a cultist in every city in an unbroken chain, you win.
Coast to coast.
Yeah, if you can just wipe out the other cults, you win. And then there's also one where it's victory points, but that's a little more difficult because you have to like achieve certain objectives. And a lot of times they're on the cards. Like you put down a card and say, okay, you get a victory point if you like release a virus or release a bioweapon in.
Yeah, so
Memphis
plagues are a big thing,
plagues,
right? So you got these plagues that can go propagate across the country, and the best way to stop it is to have the head of the CDC.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, or I think he starts them.
I think he can do that too.
Yeah,
I think he can start or end them. So he becomes a major player, but then you can do things like have the ambassador from Uruguay go and kill him.
Yeah, so wherever that guy goes, somebody dies. That's all it is. It's like, well, that's pretty depressing. And then the marching band, I can't remember what the marching band.
I don't remember what.
I think it gives you extra movement because you're marching along, but it's just silly for no reason.
And then you've got cultists, and the cultists can have different weapons. So sticks and stones was one weapon combination, and whips and chains.
Yeah,
and then guns and tanks
and then even the cults aren't that complicated. You have your basic guys, and then you have like cult leaders. You can have 1 or 2 per.
I think there's like 3 total that you can have per action.
And then there's like a relic, which if you carry around with you, gives you bonuses too.
And if you lose the sacred relic, bad things.
Well, the other team gets it. That I didn't know because I lost a couple of relics, and then I was like, well, I can keep these. I'm like, and it helps to read the rules because they're a little clunky, but
again, dated.
Old, an old game. And it was funny because like I piled in and was attacking him in his city, and he goes, "Can I just leave? Because it's I move, he moves, or however it is." He goes, "Can I just move away?" I'm like, I was thinking risk where you can't really just run away. You have to you lose thing. And he goes, it doesn't say you can't. So he's just running away, and all my guys and it was just terrible. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible player. If
you're not a terrible player, it's a good time.
It's fun for the family. I mean, you got to have
Honestly, I have played it with my wife and daughter, and we've had a good time with it.
You have to have a dark sense of humor.
Yeah. And we do.
Very, like I said, the contents are also very dated. It's just
it's all cardboard. You're not going to see custom molded pieces that you're going to spend hours painting. It's cardboard.
Yeah, and then the board itself is which laid way flatter than I thought it would. It was just a thicker cardboard.
Yeah,
and you just put it down.
It's not quite up to Monopoly standard.
No,
quality,
not at all.
Really.
Yeah. And then the cards are good. The cards are high quality. Functional. Believe it or not, I was like, "Whoa, these are good cards." Just as far as and I think dice come in here at least. You get
I think
dice.
there's a set. I mean, they're just normal D6s. There's nothing special about the dice.
But this is from Atlas Games, and it has been forever.
Yeah, like I said, it's probably
obviously
30 years old. Yeah, Chaosium licensed it to them.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's silly. It's upside down.
There's a Mythos 5000 too, where you it's a race for the Cthulhu thing, but
which there was a card game for that.
Yeah, off of this, I think. Yeah, it's off of this. This has a lot of stuff to it, and it's a classic game. If you played in the 90s,
definitely.
This was like something you had to have.
Now, this was before Arkham Horror was a big box set with 1 million expansions.
Yeah. So if you want a little bit of history or something just fun and silly, and you like cults.
Yeah, if you're into Cthulhu.
You're a cult member. No.
If you'd like to join a cult.
If you'd like to join a cult. Oh my God.
Anyways,
no. Just kidding.
Subscribe, I guess. That's
All right, guys. Well, hope you like this content. Hope this was helpful, and hopefully we give you something to talk about for 10 minutes. Like and subscribe. Links in the description. He's going to have the little thing. We're on everything. Just look us up on everything, and we're there. All right.
Good gaming, folks.
All right. Sorry.
Goodbye.